Good evening, everybody. Could I ask any members of the or officers in a physical attendance with electronic devices to mute to avoid feedback? Could I ask any remote participant to keep their microphones off unless they wish to speak? Please note that the meeting is being recorded and that staff may use body-worn cameras within the premises. Data captured during these recordings will be proceeded and retained in accordance with the Council's data retention policy, and the meeting recording may be published on the Council website. Members accessing the meeting remotely should use their Swale Borough Council or Kent County Council laptops to participate virtually. If you join using the link on the website or on a mobile device and a tablet device, it is not possible to identify you and you may not be recorded as being in remote attendance. I would like to ask members to speak loudly and clearly into their microphones and to switch off the microphones after speaking. Otherwise, remote participants may not be unable to hear the next speaker. Welcome members and officers and any members of the public to this licence committee meeting, including any visiting members and members of the public. Please note that following a change in the political balance of the council, Councillor Rich Lehman no longer sits on the licensing committee, and now we welcome Councillor Lloyd Bowen as a new member of the committee. The following staff are in attendance: Policy and Communication Manager Steph Curtis in person, Licence Team Leader Joe Thompson in person, and Democratic Service Tim Neal in person. Are all members aware of the emergency evacuation procedure? There is no planned evacuation, and if the alarm sounds, sorry, that don't make sense. Right, there is no planned evacuation. If the alarm sounds, the Democratic Service Officer will direct all attendees safely out the building and into the car park. The lift must not be used. Is there anyone in attendance with mobility issues? Please indicate now. No. Are there any apologies for absence?
Thank you, Chair. We've received apologies from Councillor Eyre, Bowen, Moore, Tucker and Miller.
Thank you very much. Do members take the following minutes as correct records of the minutes? The meeting held on the 16th of October 2025, minutes numbers 339 to 403, and accept the following licensing subcommittees: 30th of September 2025, minutes numbers 352 to 356, 20th of November 2025, minutes numbers 478 to 482, on the 24th of November, minutes numbers 483 to 487, 17th of December 2025, minutes numbers 580 to 585. Do you agree? Thank you, everyone. Are there any declarations of interest? No. No one has registered to speak. I invite the officer to introduce the report.
Thank you, Chair. The report presented to members this evening provides a brief outline of the responsibilities of the licensing team, an overview of the team's activities during 2025 and proposed works for 2026. Appendix 1 on page 13 of the agenda provides statistics on the current number of licences managed by the team and a comparison with the numbers for 2024. In most licence types, we are seeing increases on the previous year, most notably street trading for events. Last year, the team also dealt with 4 premises licence reviews compared to 0 in 2024. The team undertake other work which is more difficult to provide data for, such as providing guidance to licence holders and inquiries from local residents and new and potential businesses. In 2025, Internal Audit carried out a check of the team's policies and procedures for Licensing Act 2003 applications. They reported that the licensing team had sound controls in line with the legislation. The resulting actions were minimal, with only 1 medium priority action and 9 low priority actions. The medium priority action has since been completed, and the lower priority actions will be completed by the end of March. Section 3 of the report, on pages 8 and 9 of the agenda, presents our proposals for work we will be focusing on in 2026. In addition to our day-to-day processes, the focus for 2026 and into 2027 will be legislative changes that are likely to have significant impact on local authority licensing teams. Most notably, the Tobacco and Vapes Bill, which in its current draft is set to introduce a licensing requirement for all premises that sell tobacco and vape products. Amendments to the English Devolution and Community Empowerment Bill aim to give the Transport Secretary powers to introduce minimum standards for taxi and private hire licensing. The national standards are likely to be more prescriptive than currently available standards and guidance. The licensing team will be keeping a close eye on all developments in the coming year to ensure that our policy and procedures remain current and meet any new requirements. The licensing team would ask members to note the contents of the report and would welcome suggestions from members if there is any additional information they would like to see included in next year's report. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Very good report. Thank you. Right, are there any members who've got any?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I just had a question. I was looking at 2.9 about the compliance visits. It mentioned that it was meant to go up, but because of the sheer workload, it would basically remain the same. So my concern here is that there's more premises now with licenses, and there's going to be more, and then with the tobacco and vape bill, it's going to get worse. Is there anything that you're doing at the moment to sort of look to the future and say how you're going to increase these visits?
I think really it would be that we would need additional staff requirement for that. So that would be something that Steph would look at with me.
I mean, we would imagine that with the tobacco and vapes bill that there would be some new burdens funding that was sort of linked in with its implementation. So I think if that ask came along, we would see some additional resourcing. But in reality, I think, although we restructured the team in the last 2 years and we saw the addition of sort of an admin role, I think the increase in the workload and particularly sort of the pavement licence side of the business, because I think, again, that was a new legislative requirement last year, the year before last, that has actually taken up quite a lot of the team's resource. As Joe said, we are continuing to look at the resources within the team and whether or not there might be the need for any additional enforcement capacity in order to ensure that we do increase the number of sort of proactive visits. I can't remember, Joe, whether within the physical report we've actually said about the number of reactive visits that we do. But we have done a large number of those, haven't we?
Yeah, it's 2.11. Yeah. Right, thank you.
Councillor Clark.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chairman. It's not a question as such, it's just a comment. In the appendix under the, or what is the drivers, Hackney carriage drivers and private hire drivers tests, it's just a comment really that, it's an appalling fail rate really when you're looking at the amount of people taking their tests at 152 and there's only 49 passed at 32%. Just goes to the the calibre of the people that we must have coming through to drive our licensed vehicles now. It's not beyond the realms of possibility that you can get Google Maps up or something and have a study of the routes around Sittingbourne and whatever other questions there are before you actually come to city test. So it shocked me, to be quite honest. Thank you.
I think there's two ways of looking at it. I mean, one, you mentioned the routes side of things, and when we've looked at it in the past, we tend to find that it's not just the routes that people fail on. They tend to fail on things like safeguarding, which we actually give them a PowerPoint for them to look at and go away and study and come back. But they have to get 100% in that section of the test. So the margins are quite small because there are 9 sections of the test and they have to get a high pass in all of the sections, 100% in safeguarding. So I think a lot of drivers come and they don't really know what to expect. So they tend to pass on the second time more often than not. We have done quite a lot of work, which we spoke about in last year's annual report, in allowing them to resit parts of the test rather than having to come back and do the whole thing, which I think has really helped, and it has improved that pass rate as well.
It just surprises me, because if I was going to sit a test, I would revise beforehand, so that I gave myself the best possible chance of actually passing the test at the first attempt. I mean, obviously, there are times when you may not be able to, something catches you out. It just, looking at those figures as cold, hard figures on a piece of paper, it just shocked me. Thank you.
It just shows you that the ones that pass of a high standard. Are we, our tests, are they much, harder to do than other boroughs, or? Thank you.
I would say not. I haven't looked in detail at what the tests are for other boroughs, so I can't comment in great detail, but some boroughs outsource their tests, so they have sort of online tests that they have to do with external providers. Some boroughs have driving tests that they put that their drivers have to pay for and provide a certificate to say that they've done that. I think this is something, I'm hoping this is something that when the national standards come out that they may address, and it may become more uniform, but that remains to be seen. Thank you.
Sorry, any more questions? Right, this item is for noting. All those who want to know, could they raise their hands, please? Unanimously? Right, I call the meeting to an end at 14 minutes past 7. Thank you everyone for coming. Hey? Shall I say 15 minutes past?